Hey y'all, I hope you're doing well. I wanted to come up here and chat a little bit. Today is my last day before we head on sabbatical. And I have been interviewed on a couple of podcasts. And the question that I would say three individuals asked me was, how did I make sabbatical work? How did I get it to work for me in my business? So I'm actually going to share the tips that I shared via my email list so that you can start working out whatever you need to work out in your business if this is a desire of yours and if it falls in alignment with what is important for the quality of life that you're trying to build. So, first things first, this quarter, Q2, has been a major whirlwind for me. I came out in April and was like, it's on, okay? And I realized that I was playing too small. Now, what's important for people to realize is that when you're in business and you take a sabbatical the way that I do, and it's twice a year, that means that I only have 10 months to make my particular goals come into fruition. That means that I don't have time to play around. I don't have time to play around in general because I am a wife as well as a mother. So there's a lot of things that are pulling me in different directions on a regular basis. So I have to be really intentional. I was just at this conference and I was hearing Myron Golden speak, and he talked about the fact that disruption only happens when there's intention, right? And so for me to disrupt my regular schedule of business, which is working long hours or never taking a break, I needed to really be intent, like put some deep intention into the steps that I was taking in my day-to-day basis. So I want to share some of the things that I did in my business to make this possible for me, and hopefully you can do the same. And I want you to know that even with these breaks, even with this rest that I've taken, I have seen major growth in my business. I celebrated a milestone in May, and for this quarter, this will be the largest, okay, the largest revenue generating quarter in the 6-year history of my business. And that is with a month break. Okay. So before we came into Q1, I took a break in December. Okay. For those who are following me. And now, in the biggest quarter I've ever had in my business, I'm about to say deuces, and I'll see y'all in August. Okay. So I want y'all to understand that growth can happen in your business, right? Even when you take rest, because that rest that happened in Q4 of 2020, what year are we in? Of 2021, that rest that happened, I was able to create a consulting package, the largest consulting package that I ever created in my business. Happened because I took rest and the clarity came. It was like, oh, like all of a sudden I had this rest and I was like, oh, this is the experience, the ultimate luxe VIP experience that I want to give my clients. And that happened because I took a break in December. Well, y'all, fast forward in April, okay? In April, I sold that package. I sold that package that came into my life, right? That came into my space because I took rest. I took rest. I didn't know how I was going to find this client. I didn't know the hows of all the logistics of how that was going to happen. I just knew that I wanted to serve in this capacity. It was my calling to be able to do that, to provide that for someone. And it's going to be next level, y'all. Y'all better keep watching. I know y'all are. I know you are, even the ones that's not liking my stuff. I know y'all are watching, and it's going to be next level in August when we get a chance to fulfill this amazing experience for our client. So here's the first step. I'm going to go over 6 steps that I use to actually 5 steps that I use in order to get to a place of sabbatical. Okay. And thank you so much. I don't know who's watching. They don't tell me who it is, but yes, it's a huge, huge accomplishment and I'm super excited. So the first tip is we need to get clear on the quality of life that we desire. What is it that we want out of our business in order to be able to serve more fully? What is that? What is that? I'm an empath. I'm also a very highly sensitive person. And so every time I step out, even in front of here, I'm going to have a client call after this particular live. There, it takes energy. It takes energy for me to be able to serve at the level and capacity that I desire, that feels aligned with me, that feels that it's integrity filled, right? And so I have to pay attention to the fact that I work very hard. I'm very ambitious. I am also someone that likes to feel things that are accomplished. I don't like to have things sitting there, not really doing much of anything. I have to get things done. So that means that I'm also very prone to burnout, right? And that was something that I discovered when I went through my first episode when I was speaking in a full-time capacity as an instructor at a college. So if I know this about myself and if I am a burnout survivor, it is very important for me to get clear on what type of quality life do I want. I want to be able to have the freedom that I have in business, but I want to do so without me suffering, right? We don't want to be suffering and exhausted in our business, whether you're in a speaking business or doing anything else. All right, step number 2, I needed to determine the length of time that I wanted to actually have sabbatical. And so I knew when I was teaching full time, I was on a 9-month contract, and I absolutely loved that I had my summers off, which is great when you have a small family. And I had 1 month off right around the Christmas break into January time. That was perfect because that allowed me to be able to spend time with my family, go off, do whatever it is that I want to do. And so I got clear when I came into business, hey, this actually fits well with me. It also is a pretty slow in my own business. So do I really need to be working right now or can I plan accordingly? Now, what was a huge mm, inspiration for me was my first coach. Her name is Nikita Thigpen. Check out Thigpro, THIGPRO.com. She modeled this for me. She showed me that even in business, you can pause. Even in business, you can take off. So when I saw that, she said, hey, I love y'all, but I'm not available from X, Y, and Z time. It was almost like 6 to 8 weeks or something like that. I'm not available. She's not even on social. That was enough for me to say, okay, it is possible. So sometimes we got to see that it is. And for me, that person for me was Nikita. And so once she demonstrated that, I knew eventually I wanted to get that to that place in business, but I didn't know how. I knew the time. So once you have clarity on the quality of life you want, the second step is you need to determine the length of time. All right. The third for me was, okay, I've set the date. I know when this is going to be. Now I need to let people know. I need to let my team know. I need to let my clients know. And I even needed to tell myself, because one of the things that we'll do when it comes to setting time for ourselves with self-care is we'll tell ourselves, oh well, it's not really that important. I'll just skip this for this time period and we'll fill in this space. A lot of us have CEO days. We'll fill in that space instead of actually taking the time off. So I needed to be accountable to myself and I needed to block it out on my calendar, make sure my teams block it out. And then also a major key for me was actually planning out my entire year. So that means that I knew exactly what I was selling and what month. I knew when the launch dates were going to be happening. I knew when we'll be serving clients, and I knew exactly what to communicate with those clients so that that time would be sacred and nothing would get in the way with that. Here's step number 4. Step number 4 is this. Now, after I solidified, okay, this is the time that we'll have off, I needed to create a business model where I didn't have to feel like, oh my gosh, I can't take off because I have to make money. So I set up the business model with the recurring income so that I can feel safe, right? Some of us don't move forward because we don't feel safe, so that I can feel safe during the months that I'm not working. Now, when I attempted this about 3 years worth of attempts, it was the reason why I didn't work was because I didn't have recurring income. So I had to figure out, okay, because I live in a household that I contribute to the house. I'm not a housewife, right? It matters what I make. It matters that I'm bringing in income. I needed to get clear of, okay, how can I structure my business model so that I can still have recurring income even when I'm not working? What automations, what things could I set up so that people know that, hey, I'm not here, but I'm still open to business. Okay. So when I took my time off in December, I was still getting speaker inquiries. I was still getting inquiries for my services. And when I came back in, it was all like Donkey Kong. Okay. So that time was necessary for me to be rejuvenated. There's a lot of work that goes into speaking. There's a lot of work in helping others speak. There's a lot of mindset work that I'm consistently doing with my clients, in addition to pulling out their expertise and helping them get the courage and confidence necessary to show up in a bigger way for the stage. That takes energy. And for me, I need to replenish that. So when you look at the structure of your business model, does it allow that space? So I may have CEO days every single week. And I may have that things in my calendar where I'm only seeing clients during certain days and time. I'm really particular about that, but I need bigger gaps of white space so that I can get the time to be recalibrated, right? So I can construct programs because I have the space to kind of think, so I can sell in a bigger way and experience the growth that I'm experiencing in my business now. It's a beautiful thing, but it didn't come about from chance. Y'all see me working hard in these streets, right? And therefore, I'm going to also rest hard, okay? I'm going to be resting, watching my Law and Order and doing whatever it is else that I want to do, okay? Last thing, number 5, because I got to bounce. Number 5 is you want to commit to yourself, stick with your boundaries that you set forth, and remind yourself that business will continue to flow to you. You will not be in a place where you will be destitute if you plan accordingly. You work hard during the times that you are working, but also remember that rest is necessary for that future growth. Y'all, I'm about to celebrate the biggest quarter in my business, and it's only up from here. That's the energy that I'm putting out there. And I'm also putting the energy out to make sure that I go out there and rest. So if you know that you want to work with me, look at the comment section or whatever. The days for our Legacy Speaker Live Tour is ending today for Chicago. Come to Chicago. We got 4 seats available. Or take part in my 24-hour flash sale. I'm one person away from reaching the biggest goal I've ever set for a quarter, and I would be happy to support you in your goals as you're supporting me and helping me reach my goals as well. All right, y'all, I'll talk to you later. Bye-bye.